Hey, this is Josh Brown with Life Report responding to another piece of listener mail. This one was a longer one. I'm going to split it up into two different videos, two different topics. I'm going to respond to kind of the main question in this video. Steve goes on to make a statement about Margaret Sanger, a lot of statements about Margaret Sanger that I'm going to respond to in a second video. But I'm just going to respond to kind of the main thing here. And so here's basically her question in a couple of sentences. This is from Margot in Beverly, Massachusetts. She writes, in my attempts to increase awareness about abortion, I've had a lot of my Christian and non-Christian friends giving counter-arguments to nearly every article I share. That must be frustrating. She says, I shared an article about the economic effect of the absence of the unborn in the USA, which suggests that since we've aborted 1/3 of our population, our country has not only restricted the growth of our economy, but also would have had enough taxpayers who would have made up the $16 trillion deficit we are facing. My firm responded with a reference to the Freakonomics study, which suggests that abortion reduces crime rate, and then advocating non-abstinence education. He ended by saying, additionally, if we just need more persons in the U.S. for economic reasons, let's open the borders and allow more immigration. See, Margot ends this part of the email by just saying, I have encountered much more hate speech than this, so it is nice to have someone actually engage in a dialogue rather than just call me names. But still, I'd like to know how you would reply in this situation. I like you, Margot. This email makes me laugh. I just appreciate your attitude. You want to learn more. I think that's great. First off, I feel like you were probably a little bit behind, like as soon as you started, because I think you made one of the arguments I actually think we should be making. I don't think that we should be making our argument, and some people disagree. I know that because we've killed so many people. It's really more like 1/4 of the population, not 1/3. But you know, because we've killed technically like 28% of the population, we've got this huge. We've got the Social Security problems and stuff like that, or other economic issues. Think of all the people that could have been working. Because I think, and I've said this before, and Jay Watts at Life Training Institute is the one who said it like this, and I really liked it. He said there's a difference between what's wrong with abortion and what makes abortion wrong, right? Because there's all kinds of things wrong with abortion, but what makes abortion wrong is it kills a human being unjustifiably. But like in the category of like what's wrong with abortion, like it hurts women and it's maybe had a detrimental impact on our economy. But if you focus on those arguments, then I feel like a lot of times, at least if you're talking to kind of a thoughtful pro-choice person who's considered this issue a bit, they're going to kind of easily refute your argument. Because if I was pro-choice, I would just say, who cares if abortion has done good or bad things for the economy? It doesn't mean we should make it legal. And I would probably then respond with the Freakonomics thing. But the Freakonomics thing, which, by the way, is debatable whether their kind of methods of coming to their conclusion about the crime rate were very strong, airtight. There's debate about that. I'm not going to go there. Let's just say they're right. Let's say that abortion reduced the crime rate because of the kinds of women that have abortions and the demographics and neighborhoods and all that. I mean, it's hard to make that argument without sounding racist, but that's the argument. Let's just say that were true. That wouldn't make me pro-choice, right? That abortion has reduced the crime rate. I would just be like, oh, that's interesting. We should still not be killing babies, right? And so I don't think telling a pro-choice person that, hey, abortion's affected the economy because we could have, we wouldn't have maybe as much of a social security problem or as much of a deficit if we had this, more people working. It wouldn't be 1/3 of our generation working, obviously. I mean, half of those people would have been girls that were killed, and some of those girls would have done what my wife did, which is get educated and then get married and start having babies. So it's not like literally 50 million new workers could have been in the but obviously a lot more. I just don't think it's going to make them pro-life. They're just going to be like, huh, that's interesting. I'm still pro-choice, probably because they've got bigger, more foundational reasons for being pro-choice. Like they don't think the unborn is a person, or they think that the woman's bodily autonomy trumps the whatever value the unborn has, and so I want to be talking about that. Sorry to say the Freakonomics thing, I think it's debatable, but I don't think, basically I think the Freakonomics argument that abortion is good because it's reduced the crime rate is a bad argument for the same reason I think saying that abortion is bad because the economy, the economic impact is a bad argument. I think both of them are bad arguments. They kind of cancel each other out. Who cares whether abortion has ultimately been good or bad for society, or the economy, or the crime rate? Is abortion killing people? And if it is, it seems like we shouldn't be doing that. So then he ends by saying, additionally, if we just need more persons in the U.S. for economic reasons, let's open the borders and allow more immigration. I think this is a fair response for him to make if your argument is that we just need more people. If it's less like abortion's immoral because it kills people, and more, man, we really need more people. It's too bad abortion killed, so many of them. I think it's a fair response for him to make. I'm not going to really get into my views on immigration. I would just say he's right. In theory, you could, obviously, you can get more people in the U.S. if you open the borders. I think there's lots of national security questions that come with that. And yeah, I think maybe that's true. I'm not against people coming into the country. I kind of think you ought to do it legally. And I don't know a lot about the process of becoming legal. I've heard that maybe it's too difficult or takes too long of a time. So maybe there's ways to improve that. I know my local DMV is pretty awesome. Like you can make appointments and you don't have to, it's not like it was, 10 years ago. And, at least at my local DMV where you stood in line for, a couple hours or whatever. So maybe there's ways to improve it. I don't know. I'm not really an expert on this issue. And I don't really want to get into my views. I would probably, but basically that's turning the argument, the discussion you were having, the dialogue. Hopefully it was a dialogue, not an argument, into a thing about immigration. And then it's kind of up to you. Are you going to go and have a debate about immigration now, or are you going to go back to abortion? If it were me, I feel like abortion's a more important issue. Doesn't mean the immigration issue isn't important. I just think, as far as absolute evil in the world, it's hard to top abortion because of the numbers of victims being killed, not just hurt, but being killed, how young and vulnerable the victim class is, and who's participating in their killing. It's not just doctors or abortionists, and it's not just mothers, but oftentimes both. If not the dad, maybe, I guess obviously sometimes it's someone else forcing the woman to have an abortion, but no one thinks that's okay. But if it's not a coerced abortion, then one or more of the kid's parents are participating in that. So I think that makes it extra awful. Doesn't mean I'm going to say hateful things to post-abortive women or anything like that. I have a lot of post-abortive friends, and I'm really glad they've gone through the healing and stuff, but it doesn't make it okay. There's a lot of sin in this world, and I've committed a lot of it. And I think, because of how bad I think abortion is, I kind of, sometimes I'll take the bait and I'll go on to another topic, especially if it feels like maybe that's something that this person really cares about. He just talked about some issue that I care about, and I'm going to kind of return the favor. I'm willing to do that sometimes. But if it's not like that and it's just kind of, 50-50, I'm probably going to try to get back to abortion until I've felt like we've come to some kind of conclusion, until we've, and we don't always get there, but at least try maybe a little longer, see if you can find some common ground and maybe leave some kind of a pebble in the person's shoe. Because this person doesn't seem to have a pebble in his shoe. This person seems to completely disagree with your argument. So maybe try again with something stronger. We know that the unborn are alive, and we know that the unborn are human, and it seems like humans are valuable. But if I'm wrong about that, help me understand where I'm wrong about that. Am I confusing fetuses with actual human beings? You think there's a difference? Why is it you think it's different? And have a discussion on those lines. That's probably where I would want to go.